All right, guys, welcome back once again. This time we're going to see Team Osiris versus Team Odin. And we have a Serket, typically banned out. So we saw the Serket in round one, really didn't take advantage of how strong she was. As we can point it out, let's see what this Serket does this game.
Yeah, I'm expecting big things, honestly.
Yeah, and there's two. I mean, you have Thor too, so you really want to see the early aggression from him. And I like this. They have Sylvanas, Thor, Scylla, Hercules. Like this is a pretty good level 1 team fight, and I think they were just looking for a pick.
Now look at what the Serket's doing. That's something that, you know, some players don't use either. She was sitting there hugging the wall, using the third person to look down the jungle. And so she could see people in the jungle, but jungle couldn't see her. So if somebody did start rotating, she would have the heads up that they were there. It's just very small things like that that, you know, may not seem like a lot, but that's something that a lot of players do not abuse, right?
This is the first game I've seen the entire team back out of the jungle, and I really like the call. A fight would have been horrible for the blue team,
Right.
so they all just backed off and were sitting in lane. It was really smart.
And they still got their wards out. So, I mean, just pretty good play coming out to start off the game from the blue team.
So I'm taking a look at this Rom. He's trying to steal. How do you feel about this? Yeah, he's not going to get it, but he did force the hog. That means that I think honestly the Gab just needs to hog this once Rom gets up, and then they go and counter the blue. I don't think they try and steal it with the hog. I think they just hog here because Sylvanas and Apollo are probably going to finish it before they get there.
You know, something
that would have been the optimal choice. They're not going to get anything really out of this now.
Something that I absolutely love is what that Rom just did. It's something that, you know, we saw a lot of European teams start to do during the SPL, and that was have their hunters invade mid camps because there was nothing to lose there. They weren't starting back hard because they weren't starting speed, so they would try to invade, and even if you steal one, you're then even with the other hunter. And sometimes you get lucky enough to steal both, or you force the hog, and then you're still going to your blue buff to get that XP. So it's like, it's a win-win in my opinion for an ADC.
I really don't like this start though. I mean, they're behind now, and I'm expecting the Apollo Sylvanas lane to actually do well after this haul. Like once they come back from this, I mean, they're behind on XP now. I really just don't understand the start with the Rama attempting to steal mids. There's too much of a risk, and then doing nothing out of it.
Well, I think a lot of the issue with that is they elected not to hog the blue there, and they didn't get the early lane control that they wanted. They ended up still getting it, but they needed to hog that blue buff and then just really aggress on that lane.
We'll rewind that, but it looked like Herc just pulled the Chung on her tower.
Yeah. It was a pull by Herc.
So you mean Herc did Herc things?
Yeah, you just never fight a Herc anywhere near his tower this early on.
Yeah, they over-aggressed way too far. The blue team did.
And, you know, this is interesting, too. How do you feel about the start from Herc? I don't think I'm the biggest fan. He went no hog and grabbed Emerald Talisman level 2.
Especially in the current meta, I don't like it. But, I mean, the other team did only have one hog, so I'm assuming that was his thought process. He figured it's a Chunga, he'd be alright.
Okay, I think they just dive a little bit too hard for this Thor.
Oh, they just kept the aggression going is what the issue is.
Yeah, it was a great play by the Herc, though. I mean, yeah, it's pretty standard, but he did take advantage, even when behind.
That was a nice angle to hit it at, too. I don't think the Chunga for sure didn't expect it. Yeah, he obviously died. Now the Sylvanas lane is really starting to take over. Great pull. His rollout's down, too, so he's going to take a lot of poke here, honestly.
You know, they could get a lot of poke back out onto them as well.
Yeah,
they don't have a lot of mana here to work with. Sylvanas is low. He's using his autos though really efficiently to poke down both the Rom and the Geb, and then the So Beautiful. So that what happened there is they were stacking on their own minions to stay safe, but you can't do that against a Sylvanas and an Apollo with So Beautiful up, because they're just clearing the wave while they're taking all your health.
Yeah, just look at the XP lead, and like I figured, they would outpush them after that initial first two waves, and this is not going to be looking good.
Yeah, I mean, even the Sylvanas is still topping all of blue team right now. Outside of the Giannis.
If the red team had aggressed properly, the Thor and the Scylla could have rotated in speed, and so could the Apollo and Sylvanas, and it would have been gone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, especially after, you know, this Herc got an early kill. Actually, no, it was the Thor who got the early kill, so he got first blood and still didn't really aggress.
Good route coming out, but a good shield too.
This could easily be a turnaround. I'm not a big fan of that play. He's gonna get the kill, but the Serket kind of wasted her dash. Like, she only got one tick of it. She could have just walked up to the Apollo and then mezzed him, with Madness, and then got all 3 ticks.
Good dunk coming out here. Good Yanis ult. Just barely gonna miss. Oh, wait. Other team. My mistake there. Shh.
I'm a monster
It's
comes
just
out.
really poor positioning
Ah!
from this red team.
Did
So
he hit
close.
it?
No,
No,
it was
okay.
so
No, he
close.
missed.
I don't think it definitely. I don't think he had the damage to finish him anyway. Not at level 1. I think the Geb would have survived that.
Not sure who
The
those
blue
mid
team
camps
got way
went
too
to.
much
It
out
looked
of
like it went to blue team though.
Yeah.
We're gonna see the right ones go to blue team as well. So now blue team is gonna be taking control of both mid camps. A lot of XP on the map. Found a couple of kills, and let's see if they could, try to take this game back.
Did you happen to notice where was the Scylla coming off of a back? Because that was a fantastic dunk by Thor, but he was 1v4. No one else was in position. So I was wondering if the Scylla was just sitting in mid lane, or if she had backed and was just trying to get there as fast as possible.
I feel like both mid lanes back because Yanis ulted from base.
Yes, for sure. I think.
Yeah, I think both did
That's what
that.
I'm assuming happened. I just wasn't too
Can we
sure.
look at the gold lead right now, though? There's a 500 gold lead, and they just got 2 kills and both mid harpies.
Yeah. That's. I mean, that's. First Blood was worth that 500 gold, but that just means blue team's doing a fantastic job about farming.
You look.
Or red team,
Rom
excuse me.
Rom is ahead, so it's not in the duo lane. You look at Geb. He's pretty much
it's the
even
solo.
with Sylvanas.
There's a 200 gold lead in the solo lane,
Mhm.
100 in the jungle,
It's a
even on the
300 gold
mid.
lead
It's
in
just
the
spread
solo.
out.
Yeah, it comes
It's
down to the
just kinda
solo.
crazy to think.
Yeah. So we're
That just means they're pushing the little bit of leads they do have in certain lanes.
right. We're looking at aggression coming out on the blue buff. Scylla's not really rotating to this yet. Here she comes, but is it going to be too little, too late? Serket's going to go ahead and pop ult. And there's
So
Raging
I'm
up.
not a fan of this. What the Serket has been doing. She's been using her dash and only hitting 1 tick of it. She's using it for movement to get into a fight and then fighting, instead of
that's
just
completely
walking
incorrect.
up. It's just like a Kali, right? You want to walk up and then fight, and then use your jump to chase.
Yep.
In Serket's thing, you want to use your dash for damage, though, and she's not fully utilizing it. I mean, that's your highest damaging ability early on.
Yeah, her ganks have solely been off of misplays on the red team, pushing up too far. They're regressing on the blue without their Thor. I don't think the Serket is really making any plays. I think the
Right.
red team is putting themselves in the wrong places.
I can agree with that, for sure.
I haven't really seen too many standout. I haven't really seen any standout players this game so far. I don't know how you guys are feeling. We're only 5 minutes in, of course.
Yeah, we have a little bit more to
I
see,
definitely-
but no, as of right now, I just like that certain players are keeping their farm up. That's always
Right.
something to note, but there's nothing stand out yet.
I'd say the Herc. I mean, we haven't watched too much, but that was a fantastic early kill. I just don't know if I'm the biggest fan of his build.
I'm not a solo laner, so I can't really
Yeah.
comment completely
Well,
on the
does-
build. I just, as long as he keeps that gold lead.
Does he
I'm-
have
I'm
Runeforge
happy
Hammer?
for him.
No, but
So
he's
no.
facing a magical solo.
Yeah, but Divios wouldn't care either way.
That's
I
true.
mean, that is...
Divios would be like Runeforged Hammer, but Divios, you're facing magical. I don't care, Runeforged Hammer. Divios.
His gold lead is actually growing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's definitely using
I mean, the
that early
Chang'e just
advantage.
doesn't have the clear early on. I'm assuming she's just losing creeps, and that's honestly
She lost her blue.
that too. I mean,
oh no, she didn't. Wow.
I mean that's but the gold lead is kind of to be expected. The Chang'e's probably getting half of her wave pushed under tower, each wave early on at least.
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't lose her blue though, because we saw that aggression early from the Serket on the
Yeah.
duo side blue, and the Thor was on the right side of the map. So either the Chang'e did something right there, or the Thor and her misplayed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this guy. I don't think this guy's ever played Serket. He just did the exact same thing on mid harpies. He got 1 tick of his dash damage instead of stacking it up.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing. I mean, I realize Serket is banned all the time, but you really need to learn how
If
to
you're
play.
gonna play her,
she's one of the best gods in the
yeah.
game.
And even then, you should probably, yeah. I mean, you should understand at least all gods, even if you don't get to play them that much.
Yeah, right now, I recommend if you don't play Serket because of rank, you go into casuals and play her all day for 1 day.
Or-
and really learn her from front to back.
Or you go watch Weekend's YouTube guide on Serket.
Yes, I do have a Serket guide.
Great
You have
wall.
a fight. Wow.
That was a great
Yeah.
wall.
That was awesome.
Oh my god, that was a good wall. That was you could not have placed a better wall, honestly.
You wanna know what
You know,
the
this
best
is a
part
great
was?
player
It
to watch
looked
right
like
now.
he could get through, so it was like a tease. It was just like, hey, you're gonna get through, and then that's not what happened at all.
All right, the Herc soloed Chang'e there, and the Chang'e, let's see what happens. I think she just takes too much poke here. See, it's after the fantastic wall that I'm just gonna keep talking about.
For the rest of the day.
I am. That was a great wall. I don't think I've seen. There was nothing better he could have done about that wall. All right, so the Geb gets walled perfectly. Kaiser Roll picks up the kill here, and let's just see what happens with this Chang'e. Her 2's available, so I want to see if she. So yeah, she took all that poke. I almost would have liked to see her reaction ulted just to secure the safety. She had her 2 up. She had her ult up. She had options. I just don't think she expected him to ult. I mean, there is a little bit of a wind-up time where she could have turned around and 2'd. I think Moonlit waltzed and immuned it.
I mean,
That's
it
one of
was
those
well played by
situations where
her,
You have to assume.
but it was just really misplayed by the Chang'e.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm saying, you have to assume. You can't ever think a player's gonna miss abilities. If you play like that, you're not gonna win in your game.
Right. You always have to think the best of your opponents, and make sure that you're not putting yourself in a position. Think of it as if you were playing something. Would you miss that?
So the Herc or the Thor didn't really do much early, but I think he's really starting to take over this like the late part of the early game and transitioning into mid game here.
I don't like this play coming out from Scylla. She needs to stay with her team and not try to zone out. There's like nothing to zone. She's just like staying by the back Harpies for way too long there.
Yeah, I mean the team backed off. She needed to get out of there, and she did. So I think I would have been a little bit more aggressive there on Thor. I think they had that fight if they kept it up, and they just backed off. But I do like this Thor's aggression right now.
Yeah, we saw him earlier, and he actually kind of did the same thing. It was nothing too amazing, but the ideas are there.
Yeah.
Like that wall, he actually came through with that one, made a misplay a little bit later. It kind of happened.
I think he had another fantastic wall at the red buff. And honestly, walls are a huge part of Thor. Like, you can really screw up your team or really help them, depending on the placement of the wall. And once again, we're going to see a great gank from him. Like that, I think that was kind of just poor positioning by Apollo, or excuse me, Rom, more than anything, but still.
Yeah, I mean,
That's one thing I want to note. When you're playing Apollo versus Rama, it's not always your best option to ult when Rama ults. You saw him take all 3 hits. If he hadn't taken all 3 hits, this could have led into a gold tree.
Yeah.
So it would have been better to juke, in my opinion.
yeah, I could definitely agree with that there. And then he could have ulted back over if he needed to. We're going to see Thor pick up the left mid camps for free. He should be able to get these right ones as well. He's a little low on mana, but I just don't think Serket has a threat to even put out at this point.
No, these Serket players are not playing aggressive enough at all. She also doesn't even have beads yet. So being aggressive...
Yeah, if she gets stunned here, that's it.
Good ulti coming out.
Great shield by Geb. And I actually like how he rolled out. I don't know if he's going to get away. I think he'll die anyway.
That was a huge misplay. Huge misplay by the Thor. Too much chasing. Should have turned and secured the kill.
Scylla will pick up the kill on the Geb. So I kind of feel like the Thor should have stayed with that Serket. The shield came down, but he just missed his hammer is what it comes down to at the end of the day. The Geb should have died either way.
It's hard to assume, well, the Geb didn't die though, or at least not fast enough.
Not
I feel
immediately.
like it should have been an automatic kill, and you look for objectives. You don't look for kills for no reason.
Yeah. Well, yeah, right. In that sense, they could have went for the gold right away if they killed that Geb. Very true. So
for me, what I would have thought is the Geb's dead and that Serket has 1 health and has to back. Let's go to gold 3.
right.
Not let me chase this guy. My team's gonna finish this person off, and then there's nothing to do because they wasted all the time.
I like that Geb shield. So like even though the Scylla didn't hit a root, he did it exactly like the split second after. If the root had hit, he would have cleansed it. Like he was expecting the root to hit, and he was ready to cleanse it immediately.
Seeing this Chang'e being aggressive on again.
Yeah, she got pulled on their tower. She just needs to make her way back, I think. I think the Herc should have continued the aggression. I guess they didn't know. I mean, they saw most of the people on the map. This is a great Gold Fury call, I think. I think they're going to get it countered. Apollo saw and Thor came through, but I think the idea was there.
There should be a turn Gold Fury.
Yeah.
It's a really hard call to make against a Thor team without an aggressive ward by the red buff. That's something, as a player, you need to look at. If you don't have a ward at that red buff, you need to be staring into the sky the entire time you're doing Gold Fury. And the Thor just turned that fight.
I don't like that by Apollo. I think they probably should. Do you think they should have turned on gold there? Oh, I guess it was down. I'm an idiot. Who picked it up? I'm an idiot. I didn't even see he could take it. I was so focused.
Then the blue team got the...
I'm gonna stop talking.
Oh,
Yeah, blue team got that goal.
There's a huge spike into.
Yeah,
the-
it was
the
definitely
blue
blue.
side, so yeah.
So we do
That-
have one of the scouts joining us here in TeamSpeak, Lord WizKid. He is a admin for Tier Monster. How you doing, WizKid?
I'm doing good. I also am a caster for Smite Central as well. Don't forget that one.
Okay, a caster for Smite Central as well, doing a lot. How did you feel about this game? Who stood out for you?
Well, this game was a very interesting one for me specifically. There wasn't really, there were certainly people who stood out, but in general, it was kind of very sloppy from both teams. I mean, the Thor, I noticed you mentioned it earlier, had a very, very weak early game. I think he missed the first 2 rotations of mid camps. He eventually was around for the 3rd one, but still, like, you don't want to be missing those really important, vital ones. In fact, the 2nd one, the reason that he missed it is because he tried to aggress on the dual lane on a Ram, but he was too far away, and it just cost him it cost him it. It was kind of a just in general, everyone had these sort of small misplays and just weren't quite where they needed to be. But the people that did mainly stand out were the Scylla and the Hercules, and to an extent the Apollo as well. The main thing is the Scylla just had a lot of damage turnaround. I mean, by the end of the game, she was very, very fed, and she was just able to get so many kills out.
Yeah, I mean, we're really looking at the first 10 to 15 minutes. So who else? So the Scylla really comes online late game. Is she mechanically, is she okay? Is she hitting most of her abilities? Not missing too much late game?
There were quite late game. She got a lot better. Same with the Thor as well. But still, just in general, the early game was quite a lot of everyone was missing the important abilities. There were a couple of times where the Thor tried to use the hammer as a teleport instead of the actual damage he needed. There was one kill he missed just because he missed the damage and he wanted to use it as a teleport instead. And just in general, there wasn't really that many great early games. It was much more around the late game that did a lot better.
Okay.
The one that I do want to mention the most, though, is the Apollo. It doesn't look like he has a great stat line early, and to be honest, at the late game, he wasn't that great either. It was about 2 and 2, so he didn't really participate in too much. But the most important thing was the fact that he was doing a lot of shot calling, and he was making sure everyone on his team knew knew when actives are down certain abilities.
Okay.
And he just, in general, was being a really, really good shot caller, and in general, actually, I think he was probably the main point of their team, although the Scylla and the Hercules were the main damage component of the team of Odin. Okay.
So there we go on communication aspects. Looks like the Apollo was making most of the shot calls. We don't really see him do too much early, though. What are your final thoughts on these players?
I mean, I'm glad to hear that the Scylla and the Herc did continue to do well, because that's kind of what I would expect with their scores and how they were playing early. I'm kind of really disappointed in the Circuit. We haven't seen any strong Circuit play, and that's really what I'm looking for. If I were to pick up a player, it would be the Herc or the Scylla after I watch the rest of the game, but that's about it from this match.
Awesome. All right, thanks, WizKids. We'll let you get back to it, guys, and we'll be right back with another match. All right, guys, welcome back once again. We have another game for you. This time, it's going to be Team Freya versus Team Hebo. Give me a voice pack, Ray. Give me a voice
I don't
pack.
have anything for Hebo.
Don't talk to me. Hebo. I can't. All right.
Hebo. No, see, like...
Weekend, you got a voice
What's
pack
up,
for us?
everyone?
I don't know any voice packs.
Isn't that Hebo's? Like when he spawns in, it's "What's up, everyone?"
Oh, Hebro? I don't know. So this Ymir has no items. He bought.
No, that's Kabrakan.
This Ymir bought 2 wards and no items. You always need to be careful, and he's backing in a really bad spot. If he gets spotted out there by this Rom, if this Rom had auto-attacked him and stopped his back, he would have been screwed, I think. He would not have been to his position at all. Very, very dangerous play coming out from that support player.
Yeah, if there was any grouping, that would have been really bad, especially since the Thor and the Kabrakan are on the other side of the map. Never a good choice.
Yeah, you always want to quick buy. It looked like he wanted to quick buy the ward to get him out, which is great, but you want to quick buy all your items and get out.
And he's still gonna be late.
Yeah, he's still gonna be late. No, he'll make it to blue buff. I just want to point out this Hazard Ice mid lane Isis was the one we saw from round 1 who did fantastic. So much like Dougie, I kind of want to see if he's going to perform just as well on a secondary game.
We see him sitting on this lower mid-tier pick again.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because this is his comfort? And
He's
this
definitely
is...
picking for himself. Regardless of how he does, you always want to make sure he can play some of the more meta, stronger picks in the meta. You want to make sure he can play the Noxes, probably an Agni. You want to make sure he can play other gods besides just his diamond.
Right, exactly. And you know, this is a combine. You want to see these players playing their best, but you also got to remember, like, as a competitive player, you need to be able to do everything.
I mean, this game right now, there's not too many gods like there are in other games that you really need to be master. You need to be able to know the ins and outs of probably every potential mid lane mage. There's not too many of them that you should be playing everything.
Right. It's just like back when you saw the Boosh. It's like, okay, Ra's really strong and Boosh is really good at Ra. We can't give him Ra. Now, everybody needed to be able to play Ra at that point in time during, you know, the SPL.
But he also had an incredibly strong Agni as well.
Exactly.
And he also had a very good Poseidon as well. So even though he focused on that Ra, he had other picks in his pocket.
Right. So that's just something to keep in the back of your head when you're looking at some of these players.
You guys missed it, but there was some trading going on in the solo lane, and the Wheelix and Samana
First
actually
Blood.
out-traded a Thor.
All right, well, I'm going to rewind that because I didn't watch that.
That was me rewinding.
That was you rewinding? That was fantastic.
They sound more like windshield
Thank you.
wipers, but...
All right, let's just watch this opening part. First Blood doesn't happen too much after, so we can get a good view of this. And Kabrakan solo, so very interesting. Not too common, but I have seen people try it and experiment with it. Nothing that I'd say is it shouldn't be done. I mean, the Thor's just like really far up. Just really far up.
Yeah, they did have the full wave there, though. It's just the out-trading. It's the unexpected damage from a Wheelix. Him leveling up his stun saved his life, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what really has unexpected damage is Kabroken. And we're about to see it right here.
Yeah, I mean, I think this Vamana just didn't expect the damage. I mean, is his one up?
Oh,
He
no.
didn't level this one. Oh, he's just trying to fight him. I mean, that was kind of just a poor life decision by the Vamana.
It's not a life decision. It's a life choice.
It was a poor life choice.
Yes.
To sit there and try and fight the Kabrakan through his trimmers and his wave.
So we see both the junglers
Wheelix is
sitting in
slowly going
mid.
on.
How did Trogdor fall behind Trogdor?
Trogdor.
He did not back. I believe the Thor backed just after clearing.
Yeah,
and I
but
think
he
Wheelix
was sitting
kinda
at
roamed
level
around.
2, so did he just not stay in that solo lane there and get that
I
extra
think
XP?
he left the lane, yeah.
Yeah, because Thor was level 3 and he backed. And
Yeah,
And
the
the
Thor
Wheelix
just
was
full
level
cleared and back.
look at the
Wheelix-
Kabrakan here looking for the
He's
invade
level
on
5.
red.
He is level
Yeah,
5.
this aggression is gonna be crazy.
He's tanking a turret though. Good.
Oh.
Ooh.
I mean,
He's in trouble.
I like the choice, but he's also 3v1 at the same time.
Where was the Vamana during this? Is my question. I know he backed, but
He
didn't
kind
go
of
straight
got.
to the
I
fight.
think he tried to just disengage. He was there. I think he just tried to disengage while the rest of his team was fighting. I mean, I like the idea by the Kabrakan, but he shouldn't have done it alone. And especially once he saw 3 people, he should have backed out.
Yeah, and then the
Definitely.
rotation's coming out, but it might be too little too late at this point.
And I wouldn't even say, oh, he should have waited for the double tap, I think, before teleporting. He definitely teleported incredibly too early. And he didn't have the follow-up. The Isis was backing out, so a little bit of miscommunication between the teams. And I do want to go back to that Kabrakan there. It really wasn't the Thor or Isis's fault. They had
Oh,
gone...
good wall coming out from the Ymir there to stop the Geb rollout. He might be in trouble here now. Good shield. Not going to be quite enough, though.
I don't like that decision by the Ymir to detonate.
Yeah.
The jump was down. I mean, that was secure.
Ymir played that perfectly up until that point. He hit the wall on the rollout, stopped the Geb in his tracks while he was CC immune. And
Might as well call this guy Encon.
wow.
That's all I'm saying. I like the freeze. I like the aggression. They're going to chain CC this Owelix. She's going to get away, but basically poke her out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
she's-
did not go to right camp. She sat mid and watched, and I just don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, the mid camps
These
are
little
worth
things,
just
like,
as much
I can't get over.
as, I mean, the mid camps
You
are
know,
worth so much.
I think she did that because she didn't have Hog available to her. She was only level 4, and she was probably just afraid. I mean, would you have gone for those mid camps without a Hog?
Yes, 100%. You have the time to clear it. You have your
Everyone
creeps
was
in
on the map.
mid-lane.
The only reason is that everyone was on the map. The Gabrakan was in solo. There was 3 on left, forcing the fight.
But Thor had his ult available to him.
That's true.
It's just, I agree with you, Weekend, and that you need to go for those mid camps, but at the same time, that's in the back of your head is like I could just die here.
Except for, yeah, a Thor can ult across, but you have creep vision of a Ymir, which isn't super mobile, and the Isis. So the Thor ult wasn't going to kill you, Bledsoe. In my opinion, you go for mids in that situation.
Great combo.
I do like this Osiris play right there. He actually combo. That's the first combo we've seen.
I like all. We've only seen 2 Osilixes, but yeah, that was a great combo. Basically, just 100% securing the kill.
Yeah, and she finds that kill while being a little bit behind too.
A lot of people will like. There's a lot of times where it's like, oh, you probably could have secured the kill without the ult, but you always you trade ults for kills. That's okay sometimes, especially early. Like even if this isn't late game where having your ultimate down could mean a death sentence to you. Using ults early, even if it's 2 or 3 on one target to get that early lead and help your aggression is going to be way more important.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that, and that's something that
I completely agree.
a lot of players are like, oh, it's 4v3, but the ult's down, and it's like sometimes that doesn't matter if the god is, you know, positioned right and has the right abilities to help support their team still.
With these junglers playing newish gods to them, like we're seeing Osiris, that one player, we thought he hasn't played Sircat, we've seen some Arachne. I like to see how they rank up their abilities, and I really do not want to see this Osiris level up his ult. I do not like to see players level up their ult. I like to see the consistent damage coming out of your 3, because it actually hits really hard. And the ult used as more of a setup, kind of like a Thor ult.
Yep. Just like Thor, you know, like you said, you really want to be leveling up your hammer and your Berserker Barrage over your ult. It's more of a setup. It's not there for damage. You're going to be getting more damage off overall in team fights with those other abilities.
Definitely. There is a lot of wards on the map to note. Like these combat players really have stepped it up for wards. You don't even see this much in competitive play sometimes.
Yeah, definitely, and that is something to take note of who's placing these wards and where they're placing them. Granted, that's something that you could tell a player, no, you should be putting your wards here. But if they already have that sense to do that, you know that they do their research. They know where good spots to ward are.
This Oelix need to be very careful. They have a lot of instant damage if she gets
you
caught up.
look at wards placed right now, the mana is top wards. How often do you see a solo lane warding?
Yeah, and he's warding his own blue, the enemy's blue, and I think he's just done that on 2 rotations. I think he's warded his own and the enemy's blue on 2 rotations. Meanwhile, Thor's just gonna get a gank and left. I was watching mid camps here. I think that was just pretty standard.
Yep, the Geb is misplacing wards in my opinion. Against the Thor, always wards the gold tier.
That Gabrakan damage was
Wow.
no joke.
He just said, "Forget the mid camp fight," and went straight.
They need to
for
go.
the
They need to
gank.
go gold, like right now.
They have 5 here. Vamana's rotating back
There they
right.
go. Great decision. And I honestly kind of like this on her staying pushed up a little bit. He should probably be the one zoning here coming up. He has a stun and knockback. He has the pillar.
I don't think there's any need to
Yeah.
zone. It's already done.
If it had happened, though, I think I
Yeah.
would have liked to see him zone.
Definitely.
It was a really good call. And a good decision for Honor in my
Yeah,
opinion.
we're definitely going to talk on who's the one doing the calls here in this game.
I'm still just so surprised at these wards from the solo lanes. Both of them.
When's
Like,
the last time you
it's
saw
just
that
so
many?
uncommon.
When's the last time you saw that many come out in one of your scrims?
Never. I know like Cyclone and Kiki never would. So, I mean, seeing solo
They're like,
wards
Weekend,
is
we need
crazy.
a ward by our enemy's blue. Buy your own.
Just
These little things are stuff you have to think about. Like, yeah, you can tell a player to ward, but when it's really common and it's a normal thing, it's that much more helpful. Like, if you got players like the Boosh, I'm pretty sure he had one of the lowest ward plays.
He
in the
had
game.
30 over 20 games.
Yeah, like
30.
it's just something to note. Those players that are just used to it, it's so much easier for you and your team.
Mm-hmm. Always rather have people. Well, I mean, you don't want people to overward too much. I don't know if I like this ult. I don't think they had the setup to kill Gabrakan there. I think she probably should have saved the ult a little bit.
You know,
he
if
was
they
so
did-
close to his tower too.
they could have done that same exact thing onto the Thor there, I think.
And then probably bursted him once his hammer was down.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean,
I
the
like
Thor wasn't even
the aggression
focus.
though. I like the aggression. And
Yeah,
this
it's a misuse of abilities, but great aggression.
this on her is really. This on her rotation is great too. Rom's here too, and he's gonna be able to use his semi-global.
Ymir is going to take that red, but he's going to get picked up for it with his life. Now, Now this Anher might be in a bit of trouble
So
here.
the Anher wanted to fight, but no one else was in position. I think we should have saw that Isis and Anher going together.
Oh, the Rama just hit all 3 ults and on there. That was nasty.
So Hazard Ice, once again, he's doing a great job. Hazard has really good positioning in this team fight, and I don't. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I think Hazard Ice has had really great positioning. I would have liked to see him go in a little bit sooner there when the Anher used Desert Fury, but still doing a good job.
Yeah, I was gonna note. I'm pretty sure the Isis actually stole the speed buff back. So that was something really useful with his ball, his stun.
He just missed his spirit ball there, but I don't think they really have the damage to
Yeah, they're just
follow
gonna
up with
chase him
that.
out so they can secure these rights, I think. While Ymir grabs left.
It's kind of one of those skirmishes where, I mean, once he may have came out on top of it, you don't really gain any objectives out of it, so it wasn't too big of a deal.
So,
I like the idea of the aggression, though.
I like Anher rotating in, but I think he had. I don't know. I don't know what the communication for that was, but he ulted and he just ran straight into the middle of 4, and then no one on his team was really around to protect him. I mean, it kind of baited them, and Isis was able to just, like I said, have great positioning and spam her abilities in the back line, but I don't think that was the best decision coming out from him. I think he could have played that much better.
I think we're just gonna be waiting for the next big gold tier to come up. I think that's kind of the mass decision making here.
Watching this fight, and the Anher just stayed too long. Allowed the Geb to rotate in and didn't. He had his jump up and everything. Just stayed a little bit too long. Alright, it looks like we have Athena in here, and Athena was one of the scouts for this Team Freya versus Team Hebo. Athena, who were you really looking at in this game? Who really stood out to you?
I think the Kabrakan really stood out to us. He was really able to utilize his teleport really well. He was able to rotate a lot more than Vamana was. You can see at one point he actually rotates to dual lane and picks off the Vulcan, and that's just really good. That's something that's kind of unexpected because typically you think of Kabrakan, he's a guardian, but he does a lot of damage, and with the teleport to towers, he's able to just go around the entire map and put so much pressure that Vamana was not able to do.
Yeah, I mean, first off, sorry, we're just watching something, and that was another great stun coming out from the Thor there to cancel the Awil Exalt. Yeah, that Kabrakan not only dominated his lane, he's out pushing the Vamana on the tower end, and he's been in almost every fight.
Yeah, you know, as far as communication goes, was he really communicating his rotations with his team? Who was doing the shot calling for some of the red team here, and who really, you know, came out as one of the stronger players in terms of communication?
I wasn't exactly looking at their communication, but you can definitely tell Kabrakan was running the shots. He does get picked off a couple of times. There is a bit of miscommunication there where he just jumps in very aggressively, but you know, for the very early parts of the game, he's extremely, you know, he's calling the shots, he's rotating, he's seeing the plays that are, like, he's seeing the people that are low, and he's just going, he's diving in, he's, you know, being Kabrakan as a damage dealer. He uses his one, he goes in and he stuns them, he CCs them. He's even in the late game, he's able to, you know, he's able to 1v1 the Awilix. She actually doesn't respect his damage quite a few times, so he is able to, you know, very, very quickly put out a lot of damage.
Yeah, we just watched that dual land rotation with the teleport that you were talking about, picking off the Vulcan. And yeah, I mean, Kabrakan's not really a high tier pick. Not many people expect his damage, especially when he builds damage in the soul lane. So it looks like the scouts were really looking at the Kabrakan. Weekend, how do you feel?
I feel like the Kabrakan was a big factor in this game. I think the Thor's mechanics, the walls were like another huge factor in this game. And on the other side, the Rama is what I'm looking at.
I was gonna say that
we
too.
We haven't been focusing on it, but he was just ganking there, and he turned the fight and got a kill. His ults have been on point almost the whole time. I think positioning could be better, but mechanically great. Thor mechanically was pretty good, and then Kabrakan kind of controlled the whole team in the whole game.
Yeah, I definitely I agree with you. I think this Ram has been playing phenomenally well for his team. I think he's really keeping them alive in a lot of this. All right, that looks like it's going to be it, though. Thank you, Athena, for joining us. We're going to get
Yeah,
on
no
to the
problem.
next
Thank
game
you.
there real quick, and we'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, welcome back once again. We have another game for you. This time it's going to be Team Anubis versus Team Fenrir. And oh my god,
That was my Fenrir.
I know it is. We need to get Wolfie to do it. I mean, he's a wolf.
He is.
We need a Wolfie Fenrir voice pack. But right, we see Collateral once again. Did he play solo last time? He played the solo chalk earlier in the tournament.
Third time we've seen him.
Third time? All right, so definitely a player to look out for. He did fantastic in these other games. Let's see, just like Dougie, if he can keep it up. And Thor took some pretty particular pathing there.
Particular.
Yeah,
like how you
could've-
said
I
that.
can't believe he got out of that.
I can't either. That was very poor pathing by him.
It was very particular, if you will.
Particular.
Indubitably.
Oh my god. All right, guys. So right away here, Kali versus Thor. How do you like this matchup? Because, you know, even though Thor is strong early, Kali's weak early, the stun coming out from Kali is incredibly good against the Thor Berserker Barrage.
Basically, your goal with Kali here is going to be to counter gank off the Thor ults. Like, Thor ganks middle, you come in after his ult comes off. And Kali really is a counter to Thor, in my opinion, with the stun. You can cancel the
I
spin,
agree.
or you can cancel the hammer throw. I'm not only looking at that matchup, I'm looking at Osiris versus Bakasura. That's going to be a big factor to me in this game.
Osiris is really strong, but typically against evenly matched players, I think we normally see Bakasuras come out ahead
Now-
if they play aggressive and play it right, at least early on.
How do you feel about
Definitely.
this blue team response? They knew they didn't start at speed, yet they didn't elect to invade at all there, or even try to see what was going on. Like, why do you think the red team started at back harpies?
They know where they're at. They need to aggress this
Yeah.
lane, and then I think they need to stop this blue. They need to aggress this.
Maybe a little insight here. What do you think was going through their
I'm
minds?
confused as to both sides of the map. Like, starting back harpies is not a good choice.
They stole it.
They
And
just
they
lost it.
they just lost it as well.
They lost creeps. They lost the blue buff. They wasted a whole lot of time. That really made no sense to me.
Like maybe if you had
whatsoever.
maybe if you had an Arachne, but even how do you feel about
Even
back
then, you
harpies?
don't- No, you do not start back harpies in that situation. Maybe if you have double hog and the other team has no second hog.
It comes-
maybe
it
in
comes
that
back-
situation.
Down to losing XP elsewhere, right? If you start,
Yeah, but
This
Definitely,
Thor's
I
in
mean-
trouble. He's dead.
yeah,
Whew.
it's. I think to me, I don't think their jungler really has. If he was the one who called that, I don't think he knows what's going on. In my honest opinion,
And-
I want to go to the duo lane now. You see how pushed in they are to the tower?
Yes.
They did speed and then did blue, and the other duo lane had their wave pushed all the way in before they finished blue, like all the way in. It was like a really, really late speed clear. I'm not really sure what happened over there.
I mean, they don't have the fastest clear, but I still figured they should be back in time before that lane pushes. I mean,
It
typically
was
you're going to
really,
see the
really slow.
hog on speed and then just doing blue.
so
Both sides, to me, it was weird. It was a blue team started weird on duo side, and red team, I don't know what that back harpy start was. It's just not something I do ever.
So we saw, luckily, the Kali, she got that early advantage, right? And then she wisely rotated out of that solo lane to go to mid. She got the red, she got the speed. Now she's sitting pretty far ahead of the Thor, who's only level 3.
Yeah, he's not going to be 5 by mid camps. He may be like he needs to be I don't know where he's going. He needs to be getting this mid wave. Agni as well. He is missing a
I expect the
lot of
Thor to
farm.
be irrelevant for this entire game from just that start. The start of the game is way too important, especially against a Kali. You can't throw that away.
Yeah, and now you see the Kali tagged the creeps, and now it's rotating to duo. And this is smart, because if the Athena rotates, it like this Athena's not 5.
Yep.
this-
should be
this
a turn
could be a
fight right
turn.
here. Athena dashed in.
Yana
Yeah,
salty
Yana
too.
salty.
Get
Look-
that
look at-
that was poor communication, I think, from their team. I mean, I know they had a wave in front of them. They had to be careful there.
That was
But
a great play from Kali.
Yeah, that was fantastic. This is his target
was
as
perfect.
well.
They should still be fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I have to give it up to Hotbo there. He played that incredibly well. It just came down to there was really nothing he could do to get out of that. He was caught out of position in a sense, but he used his jump, then he impaled the Kali, then he used his shifting sands and his Desert Fury to try to deter the Kali a little bit. It just wasn't enough, and there was really no follow up from the Agni or Thor to help her or help him out.
No, yeah, they put themselves in a bad position
Yeah.
by being too aggressive in that situation. But yeah,
Yeah.
he did play like he did everything he could.
Trade
So
out.
we saw a trade in the solo lane.
Yeah, we'll rewind that. While we're doing that, I do kind of want to talk. It looks like this Baka is just getting pressured really hard. So I think the Osiris just goes for the dive, and it looks like the Baka minions finish him off. I do want to talk about that Thor at mid camps, though, before we get to it. I know it's something little, but he used his hammer when there was 3 people there, and they did not have vision on anyone for blue team. He could have, if they had rotated instead of just all securing lefts together, he could have easily got picked there. I mean,
Right.
that's small and little, but he didn't need to use his hammer there. Oh, he just got outplayed, it looks like. Okay, I don't like this decision by the Osiris. He fought in the creeps. And he took the tower
the
shot.
tower-
He took the tower shot. Yeah,
He
I
could've
guess
just
it was
thrown
there.
too. I think I don't think he really misplayed until right there where he took a tower shot. I think he could have backed off and thrown it
I
straight
don't
right there.
like the ult under tower either with the bucket. I don't know. It's kind of iffy.
So we see a pretty
I think
strong
he's just
lead
ahead.
coming
he
out
wanted
from
to
blue
press it.
team. So I mean, what can you expect from red team here? They have a Thor that's still sitting at level 4. They have an Athena who's level 5, but the Thor's sitting at level 4. What can they really do to try to bring this
They
back?
need
I mean,
an amazing combo into the left lane with the Thor ult on
Yeah.
top of the Athena or some kind of combo.
I mean, Thor's not even 5.
That's the best bet.
He needs to be farming. He needs to be leeching off mid lane in my opinion right now.
he-
Like
he-
his Agni's
like
the
I said,
farthest ahead on his team.
That's a nice wall.
Yeah. It looks like they should pick
he-
this kill up. They did give it
got
to the
body
on her.
block, so
Yeah.
good job.
I like
He
that.
is just kind of irrelevant.
I think I like them giving it to the on her.
Oh, look at that Yanis slap.
Oh, this Athena's going in there. He knew the Agni was rotating back in the portal. He's gonna get away, but I do like the Athena turn with the Agni rotating in, and that was a great job of Agni following that Giannis ult too. He didn't delay at all.
Right.
I want to see this Osiris steal jungle buffs.
Yeah, he's
bullying him out. At least
he
he
is
was.
dominating this Bakasura right now.
Yeah, I would, especially after that gank on left lane. I really would have liked to see him go in and take speed or blue. Probably speed because the Bak is less likely to rotate all the way into there.
Yeah,
That's
he'll
something that's
he'll
really
peek
dominant
and make sure
competitive.
his blue's not getting taken, but probably not the speed.
Yep.
Baka's ulting, trying to get some damage off, but the Osiris is tanking through it. Looks like an even trade.
Yep. As long as this Kali keeps farming, which is what she should be doing, she shouldn't be trying to make super big gank plays or anything like that. I think the blue team's going to be able to win
She
this
does
game.
have her pin boots online, and Thor doesn't though. Thor's in the air. They're probably
This is
gonna
a
go
smart
on the
Thor ult.
Osiris. Oh, that ult was pretty
It was a
far
smart
off.
ult, but horrible execution.
Yeah.
Because Osiris having no ult down, it really could have been a clean kill.
Osiris I think should have got off the blue and looked for the Baka there. Great
He's
job by
just securing
Giannis
the farm.
rotating in too, also protecting his team. Yeah, I think he forced the Agni to back and then rotated immediately there.
Right now, it's just the Kali after the early, at least once getting the early farm, she's keeping everything up, which I like to see. But no one else is, like, even this Osiris, he got the early kill, and then, yeah, you said he kind of misplayed, he walked in the tower and died. He's really not doing anything too crazy. He's not really bullying as much as I would have expected.
This is probably. Oh, that was great by Hotbow there. Great timing. I think the ult was reactionary, but if he had planned it for the Geb Cataclysm too, that'd be great. Now he's just taking way too many creep shots. We're gonna see if this Romp can hit these. He's gonna hit the first one and the second one. Yeah, Hotbow
was
tanked
really
way too many creeps there. There was no reason to go in. He should have been focusing on the creeps. His ult was down. There was literally no way he was gonna secure a kill on Rom.
I don't like these Janus ults. They're coming out almost on every rotation late.
Yes, I agree.
They're not cutting off anything. They're not putting pressure out. They're just kind of coming out and almost hitting somebody. But going back to that, yeah, Hotbow really pushed up too far. Should have taken the kill and backed off and just farmed.
A little bit of a slower game coming out, and that I think was the fact that you have a Thor and you want to fight early, and then you got so far behind. And so, like you said, the Kali just focusing on that farm instead of making the big. And look at this, saving the last hit to split the camps. That was incredibly smart by her. She's doing a great job.
Kali is a 600 gold lead.
Yeah, she's doing a great job of maximizing not only her farm, but her team's farm as well.
So we see a lot of vision coming out for blue team around the Gold Fury. Anher's going to go ahead and jump in here. He's looking for the impale on the wall. He's not going to be able to find it. Now Geb's here to just help out a little bit, and they're looking to fight. I mean, that's just good awareness, knowing when you can and cannot fight.
This
so-
Kali probably is going to pick up some kills unless they're aware of the rotation. I mean, they had the ward over there. by the mid camps that saw her rotating in, but they hadn't seen her for at least 15 seconds. And yeah,
Thor's up in the air.
that was smart by them to back
This
off.
is their chance.
I don't think
It's
they
a
fight
poorly
this.
placed Thor ult. He
I also
can't
don't
reach
think they should fight this.
Oh, he missed.
It's a
He missed a
really,
lot
really
of
bad ult.
damage on his spin.
The Scully's playing smart. Really, really smart play by the Scully to just stay in.
I would have liked to see the Giannis ult come out already.
Good
Yeah, there it
Agni
is.
stun. There's the Anasol.
I think the Giannis ult came once again a little bit too late, but I think it came. It was nice placed.
Yeah.
I don't agree with the decision for the Rom to go for the
The
Athena there with the Geb
yes,
ult.
I agree exactly. He should have immediately went on the Geb, or not the Geb, excuse me. He should have immediately went on
The on her.
the on her.
And if he picked up the kill, he could have went.
That
for
was poor communication. I don't know. Maybe he thought that the Geb didn't have. I mean, he should have saw that the Geb had ult.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel bad for this dual lane because if the Thor was farming to even the potential after dying at the start and landing his ults, they would be having a much stronger
Yeah.
game.
They've definitely been putting the pressure on the Geb and Rom, but every time they push up, the Kali's there, or the
Are they
Giannis
starting
is
Gold
there.
Fury right now.
This gold is really, really interesting. I like it.
It's gonna be close. They should be able to get this
Yeah,
though.
they
No
should get it.
problem. Good job.
I think
They
the
need
Thor
to
just
get
needs
out.
to back off.
The call should be to get out. He's gonna
Yeah,
die.
that Athena went in. Okay, it looks like they should manage to get out there.
There we go. Yeah.
So, yeah,
They-
they'll
that
be
should've been
fine.
instant, but at least they got out. Yep. That's a really good gold Fury call. They saw everyone back and were in position to actually do it.
And they're gonna grab these
along
mid
with
camps.
15 ult.
I mean, considering everything, I think the red team's doing a really good job, even with their jungler so far behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I hope he lands one big ult. It'll.
Yeah, I mean, that's-
everything he's done early.
I mean, Thor's incredibly strong early, but he's always relevant for setup if your team has the damage. And you have an Agni Thor is so strong of a call or a team comp, even around, especially around Gold Fury.
Yeah, definitely. A little bit of aggression coming out onto the left. The
This
Athena
this
maybe went in
Athena's
too
been
early.
really aggressive, but I think she takes way more poke than she
This
needs
is
to.
a really bad fight. This is such a bad fight for the Thor and Baka. If you notice, the Baka's build
Oh, the
has
slap
no
from the
pen.
Yannisol to and left. Kali's gonna find an easy kill there.
There we go.
Oh, good impale.
I
Nice
think-
Rom ults.
He tried to sidestep it. I like him trying to sidestep there, but there just wasn't much for him to do. There wasn't much. As long as they hit their abilities, he was getting out. So what happened in right while you were talking about it?
The Osiris is basically 1v2ing, and it's because Baka has no penetration. They shouldn't be fighting, and the Thor is wasting his time in the solo lane. If
Okay.
you look at Osiris's build, boots and rank 2 with Smithies, and along with Tether, your third ability, I mean, there's nothing you can do to Osiris.
for
He
sure.
needs to get away from solo lane. If he was in that other fight, it might have made a much better presence. The presence would have been really
Yeah, I
nice.
mean most junglers don't really gank the solo lane. There's just very rarely a chance for it to kill unless there's a mage, right?
Yeah, it's the tanky meta. If there's a tank in that lane, it's probably not ideal to gank it.
All right, we do have the coach for these teams coming in here. It's we've seen some interesting plays. I don't know really who to highlight specifically. Maybe the Kali, it looks like, but Bagel 500 is here. Bagel, who really stood out to you?
Good talk, Bagel. Good
Bagel,
talk.
are you there?
Hi. Hey,
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. So you were the coach for these teams. Who really stood out?
Personally, I thought it was obviously the Kali did work. I thought it was mostly the Giannis though.
Okay.
Giannis made a lot of good plays.
We can actually mention that early on he was pretty late on his Giannis ults. How did you feel about them, and how did he perform late game really? Because we've only really got the first 12 minutes of the game.
I wouldn't say the ults were late. I mean, a couple of them were off the mark a little bit, but I think overall they were still really good.
Okay.
He definitely declined from early to late, but I think he was still playing well.
Okay. Anyone else stand out besides the Giannis?
I think it was just everybody on that team, honestly. I think the teams were a little bit unmatched, but yeah, everybody just played really well.
The Giannis snipe!
Yeah, we just watched a really nice snipe by him, and great positioning to where he wouldn't be shown to the red team, and the Athena didn't know it was coming.
The back smack came out. That's what I like to see, though.
Weekend, how do you feel about these players?
I would only highlight that the Kali really kept up her farm, and it's kind of your job as Kali. So
Okay.
that is kind of something that stands out. But aside from that, that's the only player.
I feel like I see splashes of brilliance coming out from Hotbow, but he just seems to be out of position too many times.
Yeah, I really like
Yeah, I agree.
Hotbow as a mechanically skilled player, but he's just not making the right choices.
Decisions,
Yeah.
Poor life decisions, poor
how
life
did-
choices.
Yes.
Did Agni translate into the late game on the other team? Did he really? Did
Yeah,
kinda
because he was
remain doing the
rotating
same thing?
fantastically. Bagel?
Sorry, what? The Agni you said?
Yeah, how
Yeah.
did he translate into late game? Because he had a lot of good rotations early. Some nice bomb stuns over the wall.
Yeah, I thought so too, but I mean, he kind of got into a spot where he couldn't really do anything for his team. He kind of kept it up, but
All I'm
he
saying
couldn't
is
really
Rom
carry team fights.
Yeah,
Rom just made everything we were saying about Hotbow not
yeah.
true.
He just made a really poor
Yeah.
life decision. And
Is that when he walked too close to the tower and then he got ulted?
no.
No.
Well, that was earlier. He
Oh,
just
okay.
yeah. Well, we watch it on the stream. But I think that's gonna be it. I think so. I wouldn't say anyone spectacularly stood out. I think we can all agree that for the most
Yeah,
part.
definitely.
We've seen some games where we see one or two people who are like fantastic. I haven't really seen that. I've seen some really solid players that probably just need a little bit of work.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of maybe the Kali, since we're not going to see her transition to late. Her early game has been pretty good. All right, that's going to be it for now, though, Bagel. We'll let you get back to coaching / scouting, man. And we'll be back with another game here shortly.